How can we foster resilience in our lives? I'm Kate Save. The Inspired CEO starts now. Welcome to The Inspired CEO, where each episode we explore the innovative wellness practices that are driving success and longevity in the modern business world. In this episode, we're joined by an inspiring AFL legend, keynote speaker and CEO of Grit. Joining me now is Stephen Baker. So Stephen, tell me, you've played 203 games, is that correct?
That's right.
And what has been the most outstanding part of your career?
Well, I think the grand finals stand out. Obviously, probably they're bad memories, but good as well. You know, growing up as a kid, never thinking you're going to run out in front of 100,000 people. So
Wow.
I remember 2009 grand final. I remember going up the race and seeing the crowd and just the noise. My legs went to jelly. So the grand finals were obviously a standout. We didn't win one. We had a draw against Collingwood. So I still hold a grudge against Collingwood. But the grand finals, and I think winning at best and fairest. How proud Mum and Dad were that night. That was a bit of a surprise. Being sort of a late bloomer in footy, I didn't start until I was about 15. So I sort of give lessons on effort beats talent.
Yes.
You don't have to be the most skillful to get there as long as you give 100% effort. So that's probably the best memories that I've got in the footy, the good and bad.
Incredible. And what did your older brother think of this when you got the best and fairest, played the grand finals?
Well, I won't say he was jealous because he wanted to be a football player and I wanted to be a basketballer. So it was weird how it worked out. But no, he was really supportive, and I sort of thank him for getting me into football. I was a rough basketballer, and he said, I think you're more suited to football when I was about 15. So he helped me start my career, and it was a whirlwind from there.
Now, in terms of your career, I guess, and how do you think your sporting career really shaped you wanting to go into coaching, which you do now?
Well, to be honest, I didn't want to coach. I loved playing footy and doing my job and going home and relaxing. I'd like to just not think about footy when I left, so I had no aspirations of starting a business with the resilience. It just happened. I was like, I just love doing my job and going home. So, when it came to coaching, I didn't want to do coaching after footy because I was just, I like getting the job done and going home and relaxing. So it wasn't planned.
It wasn't planned. And I guess so coaching for resilience is very different to coaching a game. So how do you think your journey shaped you to want to build resilience in other people?
Well, life after football was pretty tough. So I lost football, and then I lost my old man the very next year. So I went through some tough times, and then recently losing another great mate in Shane Warne just over 2 years ago. I went through some troubles, went through some depression, and so really it's about sharing that experience, how I got through that, and that's how Grit developed. I did one talk which I didn't think it was going to turn into a business, but then I talked at a community centre down in Frankston, and I said, I'm never doing public speaking again. I hate public speaking. I don't like being, I'm nervous being here, but I like challenging myself.
100,000 people's more your stuff.
Yeah, I'd rather get in there and get hip, so you don't really see those people watching you. But so I had no aspirations of building a business, but after that talk, I just felt great getting it off my chest, and being the tough football player, the perceived tough football player. It is hard to speak up when you're struggling. So that was the first thing. I put the hand up and said, look, I'm struggling, and that was the start of something, getting it off my chest, telling my story, inspiring others to never give up if they're struggling. So it felt good getting it off my chest, and then I said, I'm never doing it again. Someone offered me $1,000. I said, I'll do one more. I'll do one more talk. And then, but then I felt great doing it, and I know I'm inspiring people to speak up when they're struggling. So it sort of led into one more, and now travelling around all around Australia, sharing the word of Grit and enjoying it.
Well, I've certainly seen you present, and I think it was just remarkable how honest you were and how you retold your story from a very different perspective to what the public would know. So I think the public would have seen you on the ground playing football, a bit rough, a bit brazen, and I think you showed a very different side, and you said that felt good. So what is it that telling your story does for you that inspires and motivates you to keep sharing your story?
Yeah, well, I suppose sharing your pain with others, getting off your chest. I know When Shane passed, I bottled it up. I locked myself inside. I sort of blocked myself off from the world. And I think that's the worst thing you can do. Being around inspiring people and sharing your story, getting it off your chest. I think when you've got other people that share in your journey, it's the best thing you can do. So, after I think the first talk, I cried most of the time on stage, which was but I still got a standing ovation. I thought, oh, that's nice, and just the support from everyone, it made me feel great. But then to hear that other people were speaking up because they heard the talk, it was just a great feeling. So now, even though I don't like the public speaking, I feel like it's an obligation to get out there now, because there's a lot of people struggling, and I hear so many stories after my presentation. It's sort of to see that there's so many people struggling out there. It's that I'm doing good. It's a good thing.
And I think it is relating back to everyone that we're all human. You're human, and even though you're an AFL player and you've done grand finals, that everybody has adversity, and not many people talk about that. And how do you think your presenting has really helped you to bring other people's stories out? What is it in that connection that makes people come out and tell you these stories? Yeah,
well, I think my persona as a footy player, as you said, was a bit rough and rugged, and especially guys that don't like to say that they're struggling and putting their hand up and saying, I need help. It's one of the, I think, the hardest things you can do as mainly a guy. So I think me sharing my story, like I've had some friends come out and said that they've been suicidal. I've had coffees with them, and so it's just giving the opportunity for people to say, "Oh, Bakes is speaking up. I might share my story," and so they bring it to the surface, and getting so many nice messages after the talks, and inspiring people to get back into their fitness or challenge themselves. It's been a good feeling.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think moving forward with your talk, so what audiences, who are you wanting to speak to? How are you hoping that you can change the world? And you are, because if you're saving people from suicide and talking about it, how else do you see yourself, helping others? Yeah,
so I started sharing my grit strategies, I call them. So it's gratitude, resilience, inspiration and teamwork. So I've got a little tactic for each one, and just sharing my story. I thought it was going to be all footy clubs,
Yes.
Book the old footy player in, but been surprised with getting into corporates and doing some talks and ANZ and a few AFL club and a few other banks, and it's just been surprising, the feedback. And I love doing schools. I've been doing a lot of schools, and I love working with kids. So the build grit, it's just not for footy players, kids. It's for everyone that might battle adversity, because we're all going to go through adversity at one stage or another.
Yeah.
So it's about building that sort of resilience now, and I sort of coach the strategies on how to do that. Being morning routine and showing gratitude and simple things you can do every day that can build that resilience. So I shared my story. I was thinking to footy clubs, but now I want to branch out to schools and get the word of grit out to as many people as I can.
Amazing. And that mental fortitude, like you said, it doesn't matter whether you're playing sport, you're in a workplace, or you're a parent at home looking after a family. Yep. You need that strength to keep going, particularly in the face of adversity.
Yep.
And so I guess moving forward now, how do you manage your work and your business and life and fitness and health? Because your journey was very much fitness for a long, long time and sport, and now you're in the business world. How do you balance health?
Yeah, I think you've got to prioritise your health first. I know I was doing a lot of talks, and it was really draining talking about mental health and my story, and I was booking events 3 in 2 days, and I was drained, and I got sick after doing 3 talks in 2 days. So I've realised now I've got to back it off. I did a talk last night, I've got another one Saturday, so then I might take a week off, get into my morning routine, going to visit mum on the weekend, get some home cooking.
Yes.
So I'm sort of working out the balance now. It started as a bit hectic. I was just saying yes to everything, but I realised you've got to fill your own cup before you fill other people's. So now I work out my times and plan my schedule. I might do 1 talk a week, but then it's all about my daily routine, fitness, health, being around good people, and so it is a balance. But I'm sort of getting on top of it now and feeling a lot better.
And I know you challenge yourself with lots of different things. I've actually seen footage of you. I think you were over in America, somewhere overseas.
Yeah, Vegas.
Doing a big, what did they call that big event?
The toughest of the Tough Mudder. It was a 24-hour day-night race. So,
wow.
Yeah, so that was looking back and telling my grit stories on that was a couple of years after my dad passed, and I remember getting through that hard race, being around people that were struggling. I missed the camaraderie of football, being around people that were passionate, and being in that race, being around, a group that was striving. And I loved, and I think that switched on my mindset, because the correlation between getting through things physically, there's a direct correlation with getting through things mentally. So when Shane passed, look back, that helped me back when my dad passed. I might do it again. And then I booked in for an Ironman last year.
Wow.
Coming off a hip replacement, I won't go into the story. But got through the Ironman. But now I've recently done a boxing fight.
Yeah.
But now I'm getting old. My body's falling to pieces. I can't do those silly things anymore. So now it's more about challenging myself daily with morning routine, and I just give my strategies that are annoying to do every day, but that builds resilience. Cold showers, jumping in the ocean, things like that anyone can do, kids can do, adults can do, that really helps your mental clarity.
That's really important too, because I think a lot of people watching today will be thinking as well, I'd love to do those sorts of challenges, but my body can't do that anymore. And a lot of ex-AFL players that I've spoken to, they would have hit the pavement to go for a run, to clear their stress and make themselves feel better, but their knees or their ankles or their hips are worn out and they can't do that anymore. So what other tips and tricks would you give people if they can't use their body for physical activity to get rid of that stress? How else can you really disperse that stress that builds up? Yeah,
so grit, the gene grit's gratitude. So that's something I practice now. I write 3 good things that happen to me each day before I go to bed.
Incredible.
That's been scientifically proven to help, with stress and anxiety. So little things like that. And the resilience now, I do my morning routine, like just annoying things like making my bed.
Yes.
So I heard a SAS sergeant talking about making your bed. It's the first task of the day, so you feel a bit of pride, and then you go to the next task. So I teach kids that one, and then morning routine's annoying to do, but it's easy. A glass of water, hydrate, put a bit of lemon water, do some sit-ups, or it might be a short walk if you can still walk. But everyone can do something that's hard, even though they're laborious. But you can get through them in the morning, and then it just gives you a sense of pride, and it helps you sort of get through the morning better, and then have better days.
Thank you so much for sharing your routine. I think a lot of people get great value out of that. Yep. So thank you very much for coming on Ticker today.
Pleasure.
And we look forward to chatting again.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. This is Ticker. We'll be right back.
You're watching Ticker. We'll have more in just a few minutes.